The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Chris Crock in for Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer, 312-642-5600. Have the privilege of talking to retired Chief Thomas Weitzel from Riverside. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, Chris. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Always great to have you on, Chief. Lots going on. This is a big deal to me to talk to you about this. So, shocker. After 2 Fridays in a row of insanity and attacks and 2 weekends of attacks on our ICE officers at Broadview, suddenly, the morning of this morning, we see the Chicago Tribune come out with an editorial saying the governor needs to do something because it's his responsibility on his watch, rather than demonizing and attacking Trump, to protect the people and protect that facility and help out Broadview with only 8,000 people. And suddenly they're putting up these barricades. I'm sure you saw last night in the news. If you didn't, they're putting up these cement barricades like the ones you see along the highways, right? On both sides, left and right, as you come ingress and egress for the officers and the cars coming in and out of the Broadview facility. And then on the other side of the pillars, if you will, people can have a free speech zone, they're calling it. So why now, all of a sudden after 2 weeks, is the Illinois State Police allowed to work with Cook County Sheriff's Department and set up a command center or an unified command? Why now, Chief?
I think it's politically expedient for the governor because there is actual attacks taking place against those ICE officers at that facility. Remember, it's not just ICE. The Border Patrol are there. There's other federal agencies, ATF. And Broadview, Illinois is a very small town, 8,000. The police department is small. The mayor claimed that the officers were receiving injuries when responding there from residual effects of less than lethal weapons. So I think the governor put that out and ordered, as you saw, that happened overnight.
Yes.
And now they're going to have these safe zones where you can, yell and scream at the vehicles as they come and go. But I should make clear that they said that they're going to have a free speech zone. It doesn't mean you can threaten to kill ICE agents.
Wait, are you sure? Are you sure we can't do that?
Yeah, well, when he put that out there, I was like, that free speech goes so far, and even the Supreme Court has ruled that. But you shouldn't be able to sit there and just, because they've been on video just literally threatening to kill and shoot ICE agents.
Yes. Exactly. Okay, so how do you think this is going to play out? I mean, are we going to be seeing because Illinois State Patrol, State Police says they're going to be there and they're going to allow the safety of the protests and this and that. So do you see them now becoming the bad guy possibly, or is it going to be like in the city of Chicago, which I'll get to with you in a second, where as long as they have nothing to do with anything with arrests and such, then they're just going to watch? What do you think? How do you think this is going to play out?
I think it's going to be good for as far as the buffer zone, okay, the physical barrier. If the Cook County Sheriff's Police or the state police are assigned to help assist there, I don't know how that's going to work because the governor's made it clear and the city leaders have made it clear you will not assist ICE agents or Border Patrol. So they were actually telling them to not assist when they're physically attacked. And I got to tell you, Chris, in all over 30 decades in law enforcement, I've never seen a directive like that. And police executives, whatever their title may be, police chief, sheriff, they should not be following a directive where they tell officers not to assist other officers. And they are federal law enforcement. Let's be clear. But to tell police officers not to assist other officers when they're under physical attack is absurd. I've never seen that ever in the history in law enforcement.
It's disgusting. And let me go to this one. I'm sure you saw another story that came out over the past 24 hours. You had Border Patrol officers patrolling, and you have a guy they witness who appears to be stealing They go after him. He jumps in a car and tears off in a chase. And while he's he's eluding Border Patrol trying to pull him over, he crashes into another car, injuring a woman in her car. The Border Patrol officers jump out of the car, grab the guy. And there's this clown who got some video alleging that they're choking the guy out. It's a total lie if you watch the actual video. But it's quite interesting. The CWB Chicago reports ICE detains man after traffic crash as CPD prioritizes keeping its cops far, far away. One of the last couple sentences in this story today. It says CPD officer, they head to the scene. It was the local district commander for a crash and arresting a thug, which is not the norm, sending a commander to that. They quickly established their priorities, CWB Chicago writes. Topping that list was ensuring, from the CPD, that no one could claim CPD was helping the feds. Quote, the crashed car can sit in the middle of the street, a supervisor said 45 minutes after the incident began. As long as we're not over there, it's all that matters. What a way to run your law enforcement, huh?
Yeah, that is another case of absurd political directives to the police superintendent, and then that goes down to the district commanders. And I can tell you the district commanders are under orders to go out to the scene when ICE is involved. That's why they went to a crash scene. And, someone took a photo and a video, and they immediately sent it to the media. And
right.
It looks like the ICE is attacking somebody. So there's no context. It's put out in the newspapers before any context. And ICE came out with a statement, although they didn't respond really quick. That's for sure.
Right.
And CW,
they never do.
They didn't respond. They didn't respond right away. But these facts are going up on their websites and their newspaper websites as they are fact. And imagine that the whole goal of that commander was to make sure CPD did not assist. And I have to tell you that the beat officers and detectives, and they don't want to do that. But Chris, they're under threat of their job.
Right.
So, they're being told at roll call, you will not do this, or you will face discipline up to and including dismissal.
I want to tell you something. I have some personal relationships with some police officers that were in Chicago that left. They went to suburban departments, and I have learned so much since all that. There are so many CPD officers who have left. We're talking, I've always, over the years, learned a lot about our police officers. I'm a huge supporter, and I'm from a multi-generational law enforcement family and in the Chicagoland area. And I've learned that after 5-6 years is when they're the most valuable. That point and on, you do not want to lose them because they've gone through almost every scenario you can think of for the most part. And so we are losing so many. I cannot begin to explain the amount of police officers who have left Chicago and gone to the suburbs, and they have received the gold that Chicago has foisted away. We're talking college-educated, cream of the crop, awesome cops, and they're leaving because they don't want to go to jail for doing their jobs.
For sure. And, Chris, not only are they leaving CPD for the suburbs, they're leaving for other states as well. There's an estimate out there. There's been hundreds of officers that have left for other states that are considered to be more pro-police or at least police-friendly. Florida, Texas are some of the leading states that are attracting officers. And you know what we're losing? We're losing what I used to tell my elected officials all the time. We're losing institutional knowledge. When these officers leave and they go somewhere else, they know how to police Chicago. They know their neighborhoods. They know their beats. And they're leaving.
Absolutely. Now, this is pretty interesting. You had some commentary up about the mayor of Broadview. You commented on Twitter. Have you ever seen her conduct a news conference where a patrol officer gets hurt during a routine patrol? Tell me about that. Tell me what your thoughts were on that.
I thought her news conference totally political. You could just see that by who she was surrounded. I mean, Lori Lightfoot was there. And,
wait! I didn't see that part. Because I'm not in Chicago, so I don't get to see everything all the time. I'm all over the place on the air. So Larry Lightfoot was there. Yeah,
Lori Lightfoot was there.
Oh, Beetlejuice was there. Did she bring Big Bird with her?
Yeah, she was standing there in a group of 6 or 7 individuals behind the podium. So she's advising the Broadview mayor.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
when I saw that optic, I was like, okay, I know where this is going. But you know what made me really angry about her is that the Broadview mayor talks about her officers being injured inadvertently by ICE, non-lethal, less than lethal weapons. But she said they've been battered and assaulted. I can tell you as the former police chief, officers get injured every year. Disturbances, drunk disturbances, domestics, just individuals who resist arrest.
Yeah.
Did she ever hold a press conference over that? Does she ever hold a press conference that she's sick and tired of her officers being attacked by individuals that resist the police just on a normal patrol basis? Of course not. Nobody does that. But she goes on to, which the news conference was covered nationally, and when she goes on and puts that her officers are injured and how concerned she is, but she never would do that on a regular basis.
Do you think that
pure politics?
I like how she's acting as if ICE just goes out there. There's just a Broadview police officer standing out there, and ICE just starts shooting pepper balls at them. Like she's leaving out something out of the equation. That there's crazed leftists attacking our ICE officers and threatening them. There's no comment about that, of course.
Of course not.
Yeah. Now, you also commented on Mayor Johnson, and Conehead, as some of us call him, with his nice haircut there. But he came out and said his investments in housing directly contributed to drops in crime. But then he was talking to Ahern, Marianne Ahern, I think is her name, right? And she's in a report, and he reverses himself. He says, asked about residents and a sense of safety in Chicago, Johnson says his investments will take some time. So what's the real story?
Real story is he's lying, basically. I mean, I understand Marianne Ahern, she's doing her job. She's a political reporter, right? That's her job. But you know what? You watch that walk and talk, you see the black SUV following the mayor. You see uniform Chicago police officers. You see plainclothes Chicago police officer details, and he's walking through the neighborhood, and this optic is like it's safe. You can walk anytime you want. Well, they don't have 150 bodyguards or CPD detail, and then he's once saying that it is going to take a while, right? That housing isn't the total answer, but he's saying it's a big part of it initially, and then he's backtracking it by saying, well, that'll take several years. Well, it's more than that, Mr. Mayor. It's just, that's just that walk and talk. The way they did that was pure ridiculous.
Yes, pure. Yeah, and then he's acting the way he struts on that. It's like he thinks he's the president, and he's an incompetent mayor with a horrible approval rating and massive violence who thinks his cops are bad and horrible. One more thing. You talk about Pete Hegseth talking about getting the troops in shape, and if you're going to be a general or if you're going to be a PFC, private first class, doesn't matter what rank you are, you're going to be in shape. You kind of talk about this with our police officers. I got to tell you this: I'm our biggest fan of cops. For certain, but there's so many times when we see in the news and you see these cops standing out there in a news story and something happens, and there's like so many of them are obese. You cannot go after a criminal. You can't catch a criminal. You can't protect us if you're obese, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, and I've been on this lowering of standards in policing, the lowering police standards has started after the George Floyd murder, no question. They're lowering entry standards, they're lowering police academy standards, all to attract officers because it's difficult to recruit and retain. So, I mean, and there's some academies throughout the state that you don't have to pass the physical to get into the academy.
Are you kidding me? Wow.
No, the rule is we'll get you in shape by the end of the academy. And if you're not in shape, then we won't put you on the street. But they're allowing individuals to enter the police academy that don't even meet basic physical fitness requirements.
That's insane. I got to ask you one more question. This is, I don't know if you heard earlier, I was talking about this. This is on WFLD Channel 32, but also it was all over social media. A guy from Savannah, Georgia comes up for a convention in Chicago. He's got a Cybertruck. It's wrapped in American flag, and it's got Donald Trump's signature massively on the back of the SUV of the Cybertruck. And some crazed leftist lunatic walking her dog takes dog crap out of her doggy bag and smears it all over this guy's car. There's cameras everywhere. Let me play this for you.
We are Americans. You have an obligation to do better. I think that people that align themselves with her views that may be opposite of mine, they would tell her when you do something like this, you're making the problem worse. You are increasing the polarization in this country, and it's not necessary. This is America. You're supposed to live and let live.
What would happen if this was happening while you were chief of Riverside? What would the crime be? What would the charge be if he pressed charges?
It would definitely be criminal trespass and then also criminal damage to property, the owner's property. And I saw that he didn't want to press charges,
yes.
But he did. He's the one that helped IDEAR. He put it out on his social media platform, so they know who the offender is. But I think she should be charged. That would be my opinion. But, what does that do to her? She walks by and puts crap all over it. I saw that police agencies that have Tesla has given police agencies vehicles to test, most notably Las Vegas.
Yes.
They have kind of pulled back those vehicles, and they're only using those vehicles as of late in very high-profile cases where there are a lot of police officers involved because they have been under threat that their own police vehicles that are Teslas would be damaged.
These frickin' people are just crazy. They are so nuts. Yeah, I'm looking at this, Chief. We're going to get back into this a little bit later in the show, but this woman is totally, everybody knows who she is, what her company is, the address of her company, the phone number, and here's a guy that puts, as a dog lover, and because my office is near this person's dog business, I had to repost this. Can you imagine, this guy writes, if what this business would do to your pet or family member if they found out your political values didn't align with theirs? It's just sick. These people are freaking sick. Chief, I appreciate you. Always appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. Have a great morning.
You too, brother. Okay, we got so much more coming up. I'm going to get into, what do I got here for you? Pritzker comparing Trump to Putin and saying that Trump has dementia. We're going to have fun with this guy. We're going to have some fun with him. And the latest on that coming up next. It's Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft. Dan's back on Monday on AM 560. The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You've heard me talk about Northridge for years, but now I want you to hear from one of their recent graduates, TJ Gorman, who just graduated second in his class in Marine Corps basic training. This is what he said. I was blessed to attend Northridge not only for the education, but for the values and principles my mentors instilled within me. The school taught us what it meant to be a leader and lead through example, hard work, humility, and empathy. I thank God for Northridge. That's what makes Northridge Prep great for young men. The students are called to excellence to become true leaders. And these boys want to go to school each day. They love Northridge because they can be free to learn, to grow, and to be challenged. There's a real spirit of adventure on campus that you've just got to experience for yourself. For nearly 50 years, they've partnered with parents like no other school in the Chicagoland area. Today, in our nation, we need more Northridge graduates to lead the way as men of intellect and character who love God. Guys like TJ.